Good, Tony. If I could, it's a troubling spot, the Sweet 16. San Diego State had been there before and haven't gotten by. But if I could talk to the Alabama crew before the game, I'd remind them that they are 1-8 straight up in the Sweet 16 as well. So they do have the advantage here. I might have deuce seven, but hey, you know what, Tony? If played correctly, it never loses.
That's right. Deuce seven, you can flop deuce, deuce, deuce. Well, you've seen that. We've seen a lot of crazy things on the poker. We've seen aces crack before, many times.
Oh well, no doubt,
Mainly, right? I know
no doubt.
that's a dealer's nightmare because that means no tip. All right, here we go, Ramon. Tonight we go. The Jazz are the home team here. Bucks and Jazz here. We got the Bucks here laying a bundle 9.5. Total sits here 236.5.
Now the Milwaukee Bucks, they're back on top. The Celtics, were they an imposter? I don't think so, but still, Milwaukee will probably end up with that home court advantage. They don't seem to be stoppable right now since they've risen back to the top, having won 23 of their last 26 games. Kind of sense that Giannis, injury a little bit where he was out. Since then, it's all systems go for the Bucks. They've won two straight once again. They've averaged almost 125 points in the last 5 games. The Bucks played Utah back in December, a 123-97 win back in Milwaukee. They'll come out to Utah, where both teams have a little bit of laundry list here of injuries. You have Utah Markkinen, certainly the big one going in. That's the one I think people would talk about, certainly in this game. He's out. And that's tough, man. He was getting beat up in that last game. He looked great, but he hit the floor hard, made his head snap back. Man, he was really rocked to the ground by Diacono, Archie Diacono, in that game. So also going to have no Clarkson here, no Sexton, no Rudy Gay. Milwaukee's got Milton out of this one, so he's just getting a rest day here. This might be the right spot, but for me, I'm still going to look at the steam. It still is leaning over, and I think it's kind of a situation, Tony, where Milwaukee's been just so good. They put it on cruise control a little bit. We saw Utah struggle last game, losing to Portland in a maybe a bit of a shocker. Portland hasn't been playing well of late, and Portland scored 127 points here against the Jazz. The Jazz have gone over in 6 straight. They've also gone over in 8 of their last 9. They're 25-12 to the over as a dog. A little bit of contrary here is that Milwaukee is a pretty solid under on the road, but I think a team that Utah, yeah, they're right there. You talk about the race there at the bottom in the West. I say at the bottom, it runs pretty deep. You just got to take care of your own business, and you think somebody would have to falter. So just win if you're Utah. It's not necessarily worrying. Yeah, you got to worry about the Lakers, the Thunder, but there's a couple other teams in the mix too, right there that could fall out with a losing streak. So don't worry about what other teams are doing right now. Just take care of business. If you're the Utah Jazz, that's easier said than done. Taking on the Milwaukee Bucks right now, Utah half a game back of that play-in spot, but really they're kind of struggling a little bit. Like I said, defensively, and they'll have missing players here, and the matchups still favor the offense to me. I don't see, the defense there necessarily in these matchups. Not necessarily for Utah or Milwaukee. I think that Utah could still have some success despite those scores being out. For some reason, the metrics of the Bucks, like I said, maybe it's a combination of their effectiveness offensively that they have been able to allow points a little bit to their opposition. Maybe they're more comfortable playing a little bit higher scoring, faster tempo. I mentioned those 124 points over the last 5 games. That's a good, I don't know, 7 points over their season average. So really, other than Walker Kessler, to me looks like a pretty impressive defensive player. I think if anything, we talk about some of these, Walker Kessler. We'll see how he, you know, grows as a player, but he looks very interesting. But guys like a THT in there, Olenek, the rookie Agbaji, yeah, he scored 27 points. He looked absolutely terrific against Utah, but I'm not sure about this rookie's defense at all. Certainly, and for Utah, for Milwaukee, look, Giannis can be a dominating force, but the defensive effort, if you will, just doesn't seem to be there right now. Again, because they're playing so comfortably, a lot on the lead right now. Only, maybe Connaughton looks like he's holding his opponents. I'm trying to dive a little bit deep into the metrics here, but Connaughton might be playing a little bit harder defensively. It looks like to me, considering what the opponents are doing against that position. I mean, uh, you know. Uh, Brooke Lopez, he could have his problems with Kessler in there, but and I don't know about this don't know too much about Fontecchio, Tony. I've been watching him a little bit, and he'll be up against Connaughton. He's not a rookie or anything. He's been around. I mean, yeah, he's new with Utah, but he played in Europe for about 4 or 5 years, so he's not a young player at all. He's in his late 20s, I think. So I'm going to go over this one. It opened 230, as low as 232, and now it's 236 and a half. So mine's better than I. Mr. 5,000 might be telling me something here as the total's gone up despite all these players being out. And I'm looking at it metrically on some of these sites that I use, and I see that the defense is lacking still. So I'm worried a little bit. Can't make it a premium because some of these scorers are out, but it looks more position wise that the effort just isn't there. And for Utah, their defense just isn't there because they don't probably don't have the ability to play some of the defense as some of those top contenders like Milwaukee do. So I'm still going to go over here, 236 and a half, or what I have 237 there, but you show the number there, and we'll go over tonight. Milwaukee and Utah, despite a couple key personnel out tonight, including Markkinen and Middleton. I'm going over.
All right, Ramon's going over 236, 237 he put down, but you can find 236. The sharpest book in Vegas, 236 and a half. And my goodness, the sharpest book in the world right now has 235 and a half, Ramon. So you're really going against the sharps in this one.
Well, that for some reason, like I said, it was pushed up, and I think the injury
Buyback.
situation was pretty much determined. I think everyone knew what was going to happen here. Then maybe the other concern, with Milwaukee's uh, efforts on the road, like I said, they are often rated pretty high on the road, and this number here is high. So it was a premium at that road number of 232. But when I saw this push up, I just had to back off a little bit. Still feel confident that it's a 240 point game here, but maybe a little bit in the back of my mind looking at some of these players that are out of this lineup. So on the surface, to me, it looks like the tempo of the game, the style of game. We have Milwaukee here, a big favorite, obviously, near double digits. So what we've seen on those games, right? You look what happened last game. Now it was an under when they went into Milwaukee, but Milwaukee scored 123 in that one. It was Utah that didn't score on the road. I would expect them to feel a little bit more comfortable at home offensively and be able to score closer to their season average. Maybe they're playing Milwaukee, so maybe not, but they do average 117 points a game. They average more points than the Milwaukee Bucks. We know they're not better than the Milwaukee Bucks. It's just the defense isn't there for Utah. So I would think that still you have Giannis, you have Drew, you have Grayson Allen. These guys can still put up a number tonight. Whether or not they cover, maybe that could be in question. Milwaukee's always had trouble going into Utah, the various versions throughout the years. We think that this Utah team, is obviously in a little bit of a restart mode. Their record would indicate they're alive in the playoff picture and do have motivation to play hard tonight. But still, it's been tough for Milwaukee in the past. This particular trip in Utah, I believe they've long term not a good cover in Utah. But obviously, this Utah team a couple notches down from even what we've seen in the past
Now, how
couple of
confident are
weeks.
you? And I can understand where the sharps are coming from. How confident are you with Utah to get there, to get the points necessary to get this over? One of the things you're looking here at some of these numbers here, it's been Milwaukee on the road. They do defend. I mean, some of the defensive numbers have been impressive here as they hold teams per possession. Of course, that's based on speed. How fast will this tempo be? That has a lot to do here with this total. Also, too. Looking here at this Jazz team, yeah, the defense has been pretty bad for them. We saw that effort against Portland. Portland is a team that is just is not functional, and they went in there and put a 127 on them, and that's concerning. I think that's the game here where you can say, hey, maybe they could put up a 140 on these guys. The way Utah looked in that game against Portland.
Well, again, I didn't want to just come on here and say, look, Utah just played a 242-point game against Portland, but certainly you would think if a team like Milwaukee with Portland was not. I didn't expect much from Portland in that game, and they came up with a monster effort. Milwaukee to get 127 points, obviously not out of the question. Like I said, their scoring average over the last few games is well above their season average. I just feel like Milwaukee, 2.5 game lead over Boston, that's not extremely comfortable yet, but considering where they were and how they've had to, it's been Boston's regression a little bit, of course, that has allowed Milwaukee to surge back to the top in the Eastern Conference. And the fact that, yes, I mean, that was the other dichotomy maybe that kind of kept me up is Milwaukee is a strong under team, man. More than
Yeah.
two-thirds of their road games go under. But Utah, as a dog, is virtually the opposite. More than two-thirds of their games have gone over as a dog. Utah's gone over in six straight and over in 8 of 9, and I think the other one was a push. So that's where I'm looking at the position that Utah is in right now, in a little bit of a desperation mode. Milwaukee in a bit of, I don't want to call it cruise control, but with the NBA teams, we know that there is a lot of pullback when there's any comfortability at all with these teams. Again, resting Middleton here on just a game where they're basically a double-digit favorite. So that's what I
How do you
do
how do you
think.
factor how do you factor this here, where this is the front end of a back-to-back here for the Bucks? They got Denver tomorrow.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it could be a real. And again, that's why you have
For
the
both
rest
teams, by
with.
the way. Next tomorrow, Utah at Sacramento. So front end for both teams.
Yeah, and Utah, you certainly don't worry about their situation, I think, as much when you're analyzing this particular game. Milwaukee's made the steps to rest a player here like Middleton. And again, I think, yeah, that's where if anything, when you step off the gas, that's where you would look, right? To allow the opponent to maybe have a little bit more comfortability offensively, because I think we all agree that defense takes more effort than offense. So.
There we go. Ramon here, Bucks Jazz over 237. Now, this one to have a start time at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, Ramon, let's take a look over at TonySpicks.com again. We'll flash these impressive numbers for the 5,000 unit man here, Mr. 5,000. 5,036 units of profit for 2023. That is all documented over at TonySpicks.com. Verified by going to Ramon's handicapper page, going down to pick history. You can see every play that he's posted. It's up there for you right now. All right, Ramon, tonight we have a 10-game board NBA. We got some hockey up there, 4 games from college hoops. Any peripheral sports out there? I know you've been looking at the NCAA hockey tournament that is up there. We do document that in the back end as well. We're heading into a weekend of possibly UFC as well. I know you get delve into that. What do you have going over at Tony's Picks?
Yeah, please look for that. I will have a UFC card. They're in San Antonio this weekend for the main event. Cheeto Vera in action against Corey Sandhagen. The main event in San Antonio this weekend on tomorrow night. So be looking for that package. My MMA numbers, very very solid. It's basically 67%. It seems like I'm just hitting 2 out of every 3. You want to sweep that card certainly, but getting ready here, watching the little Cage Warriors getting underway here just right now here on a Friday. They had a fight or two so far, it looks like. So watch a little MMA this afternoon on this level. And there you see it, Tony, my one package for the day. This could be it today, and I put it all together and tried to pass along a big discount for anybody interested in this package. If you're crushing it, no problem. You want some extra winners in your pocket? Take a look at my record and then click on this 7-pack for $30. I don't think anybody's doing that on the site today. I've got 7 plays, one play each in college basketball. Did the same thing yesterday. Went 3-1, and yeah, it was that Bruin game. What a game that was! Man, that was exciting. And get this 7 pack, 4 college, 3 NBA, 4 tonight for just $30 from the hottest capper on the site. Why wouldn't you get this package? Even if you were hot, I would think this would be a good set of winners for you. It's profit guaranteed over at Tony'sPicks.com. But yeah, we'll have more this weekend, more exciting action. Yeah, I did have that play go. I had a play go off, Tony, in the NCAA hockey tournament. It was an early game, so it's underway right now with Ohio State and Harvard. Still to come, 3 more games tonight. We'll get down this weekend, whittle those pairings down as well as they get down to the Frozen Four in the NCAA tournament. We've already seen top ranked Denver out.
Mm.
Top seeded Denver out yesterday. They lose in an upset to Cornell. That probably makes, I would think, Minnesota the favorite here. They rocked last night 9-2 against Canisius, so maybe they've moved to the top, even though they lost in the Big Ten tournament to Michigan, and Michigan's a big $3 favorite tonight against Colgate. So interesting times. If anybody likes the ice hockey, catch those games on the ESPN family. So those are pretty good as well. But probably nothing on the ice. Mindy and I covered it, I think, today on, as she mentioned it on the show. So maybe not a premium tonight on the ice because we kind of broke everything down and felt pretty good about what we were saying on there. So just these 7 games tonight. That's light for me, but we'll pull another profit and add to that number again. Just seems to be, that's the thing about my volume of plays, Tony. Yeah, I can rock the leaderboard sometimes, and everybody gets all, well, I get all excited, and the subscribers, get a great day, 9-2, 10-3, whatever it is. But it's these other days that are most important, Tony, when you can grind out that couple of $100 victory, and I mean it with our $100 unit base. YMMV, as we say on the interwebs. Your mileage may vary. I mean, if you're playing these games, probably playing more than a unit, 100 there on these games. So that 5,000 number, you can, 2x or 3x it, because if you're going good, you're playing it strong, we're stepping it up as we grow that bankroll, and you know what to do. We're selling Tony's picks. What you do with them is your business. But we know what you can do with a winning percentage like I'm putting up there right now in many of the sports. You know what to do. You don't need my help. You guys are very, very savvy. We see that every morning with our Team Steam conversation, Tony. Even the newbies that we think, hey, who's this coming into chat? But they know, they've been watching, and they come in with their notes, their stats, their picks. They're the stars of the show. We didn't know it was going to be that way, but that's the way it's turned out. The morning steam is all about Team Steam, all of their plays, and yeah, they kind of sway Mindy and I sometimes in the winning direction. So when you look at those handicapper leaderboards and you see the morning steam record up there, I think the chat and our Team Steam can take pride in that, because that's just as much them as it is us. Maybe half and half over there with the show. So that's what I'm focusing on tonight, Tony. That 7 pack NCAA Sweet 16. I'm ready for the Aztec game. Yeah, I'm certainly concerned and worried. Probably going up against the number 1 team, although Connecticut looked really sharp
Oh
last
yeah.
night,
Oh
and
boy.
I think that's the two that people I think are going to look at right now. But Alabama's the other one. But I think I don't know, the way the Aztecs. I've said it all along, because of their age, experience, coaching. They know what they need to do. They need to turn this into, well, you don't want to play Alabama in football if you're San Diego State, but try to turn this one into a little bit of rough and tumble tonight in San Diego State style. Alabama could end up, matching into that style a little bit, and I think that makes the Aztecs alive to get a cover here, at least tonight. I don't think I expect a blowout, basically based on the maturity of the San Diego State team. I don't think they have the foldability, if you will, if they were to fall behind. If they are bricking it. That's another problem, but I don't think the effort will be there without the effort at any time. I think San Diego State's a fully focused team with mature players that know exactly what they need to do to stay in this game with the Crimson Tide.
All right, guys, yeah, Ramon's got over at Tony's Picks. You see, we'll flash the results up here again, where he's producing great numbers here. 5,036 units of profit for 2023. That is all document over at Tony'sPicks.com. Again, right on the page tonight, you've got Ramon here with his base of his Friday basketball 7-pack up there, 7 packs here as he combines the NCAA tournament and the NBA into a 7-pack. Get on board with that. Remember, use the promo code TonyT at checkout, and you'll save 20% off. You can access Ramon's page by clicking the link you see there in the description and click the All Cappers tab. Then you'll land right on Ramon's page. Go ahead and get signed up. Of course, you can also opt for the longer term pass. So one month from Ramon will get you all a month of Ramon's premium plays for 30 days. All the remainder of the NCAA tournament, the remainder of the NBA regular season and NHL regular season, and we get you into some playoff action as well with that 1 month of pass. Of course, don't forget baseball starts Thursday. Good 3 weeks of plus of baseball in that 1 month pass. Don't forget the peripheral sports that Ramon covers. He also covers UFC on UFC cards, Bellator as well. He's keeping an eye on his NCAA hockey tournament. We may start looking at women's when we get to the Final Four. I'm not sure. I thought last year we did have that, but we'll see. But anyway, lots of coverage there for Ramon. May delve into some soccer as well. He looks at these other leagues as we start to slow down in some of the other sports next week. So keep an eye on that. Sometimes there's some big tennis tournaments that he looks at. Lots of content there for Ramon. Lots of picks. So get on board. Use the promo code at TonyT to save the 20% off. All right, Ramon. We put together a Twitter account that you can now control. Tony's Picks Ramon. More content there. They can find you over on the Discord. And of course, as well as the morning team. I will say this, I believe we should address this now. We mentioned Discord. James Thor went and signed on for the Discord. Go back and hit the link, and that should take you right into our Discord. After you sign up, I know it will direct you to a different page. Just close your browser, come back to the chat room, and click the link now that you signed in. All right, Ramon, what you got going on over at the Discord and of course on Twitter?
Yeah, and I'll try to find a way. I've got a couple more plays on the ladies' side tonight, so maybe I'll come in there. Maybe we'll tweet one out. Maybe we'll bring one into the Discord, hoping to get involved somehow. Maybe package some of these up because I did have a pretty good start so far in the ladies' tournament, and there's some nice games tonight, including Colorado and Iowa, Mississippi State, and Louisville late that I've got a couple plays on that I'd like to share with everyone. So take a look at the Twitter account there at Tony's Picks Ramon. It's going to be a little more populated with a lot more actionable information. Maybe I'll bring one of those games to you there tonight. That's what we can look at. Right now, Miami lighting up Louisville right now in the ladies tournament, 46-30 at halftime. So we'll see how that one goes. How about that? Right now, Miami, they were a 4.5-point underdog in that one in what was expected to be a low-scoring game, and they have torched Villanova for 46 points in the first half in that ladies game. Next up is going to be LSU and Utah. I'll just mention, Tony, I do have a video on the site embedded at Tony's Picks. The leaderboard video has a free pick in the ladies tournament between LSU and Utah, so check that one out. And also my sponsor video has the preview of a game in the NCAA hockey tournament between Michigan Tech and Penn State. So check that one out as well on the site, on the Tony'sPicks.com website. You'll find embedded videos there by me with a couple of previews and covering some information about our leaders that had a great day and a great week over at Tony'sPicks.com. So don't forget those as well. We'll be back with more Morning Steam on Saturday as we get ready for the Elite Eight. We'll see who's in and going to join them on Sunday, but we already know we've seen some of those lines. The Lions too, the Lions too on both of those games.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Tony. So they'll be closely rated. Should be a thrill a minute when you're talking about the matchups between FAU. I hesitate to call them an upstart. They're not a Cinderella. I mean, they were seeded probably properly. Maybe they were underseeded. I don't think that record, just because they weren't in one of the superpowers, they proved it with that 3-loss record. So K-State 2-point favorite over FAU, Connecticut 2-point favorite over Gonzaga. We'll talk about those games tomorrow, as well as the big hockey card, NBA as well for Saturday. So check us out, Morning Steam, new days, same time, Wednesdays through Mondays, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. It's me, it's Mindy, and it's everyone in the chat. We're getting close to 100 every show joining us, and everyone gets their chance to comment until it becomes too overwhelming. Your pick for each game will most likely, I think we're getting about 90 to 95% of all the actual picks posted on the air. If it just becomes too much, we'll find a format change. But right now, that seems to be fun. It works for everybody. Everybody gets their moment to make their statement, right, on the show with 100 friends watching. And I've got this team, and I've got that team, and I've got over, and I've got under. That's the theme of the show, and then of course Mindy and I whittle it down and give out our premium consensus, and we've done pretty well there. Should be no losers over there in the chat, Tony, because we're putting up winners when it comes to Team Steam. So if you're kind of new to sports betting too, learning sports betting, you can kind of just stick with those plays early until you get a feel, till you start to get your own biases, if you will, what works for you, because that's what it's all about. What works for one or the other. I'm sure maybe I'm old school. I stick to sides and totals. Of course, I want the biggest window with the least variance. That's why I do sides and totals. I appreciate everyone with their props that come in. Love those and love seeing them as well. It all relates one another. It all relates to the eventual settling of the game. But it's kind of like, hey, if I could pick season win totals and they could be decided in 24 hours, I'd probably go that direction. I just want the biggest sample of opportunity in the least amount of time. That's why full game works for me. Yeah, yeah. Dabble in those 5 innings, those first halves when need be, or in the bigger games. But for the most part, those sides and totals for me are the best thing that you can do. Best thing anybody can do, still to this day, even in today's way of betting and the different variants of betting propositions, Tony.
That's right, guys. And more picks there from Ramon over on our Tony'sPicks.com homepage. You'll find it there. Also, click the premium pick tab, and you'll find the leaderboard video pick here from Ramon. He updates that daily. You'll find it there when you click the premium tab. Also on our homepage, you'll find the sponsored free pick there on the site as well. So lots of content for you guys over at Tony'sPicks.com. As we now just display for you here, right near the pick ticker is the sponsored pick there from Ramon. So a lot of content there from Ramon Scott as well. All right, Ramon, as always, great having you show. Continue that success, and we'll catch up with you again on Monday.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the games.
Got it. Ramon Scott